Welcome, fourth graders. This is your text evidence lesson with Readworks. Please click on the readworks.org link, then type in the class code PJQN4W. You're going to be working on Up in the Air, the Readworks passage for today. You're going to read with me. Don't forget your password is 1234. Follow along with me and you'll make 100 at the end. You're going to go to your assignments to do. You're going to click on Up in the Air. And then we're going to follow along with me. You can always make this bigger. We're going to number our paragraphs. So at this time, please follow along and do what I do. We're going to prove our answers and answer the 5 questions at the end. This is what good readers do. We always prove our answers. We use text evidence to support our answers. So let's get started. And once again, what I do, you do. You will make 100 at the end. There's no reason for anyone to make a 20 or 40, 60. Or an 80 even, because we're doing it together. So, Up in the Air. Let's use our reading tracker to follow along. And we numbered our paragraphs. Kurt closed the door of his mother's car with great excitement. Today was the day he was finally going to be on a plane. For the first time in his life, he was going to actually soar through the skies and see the clouds from all the angles he had imagined since he was little. "Are you excited, my boy?" said Kurt's mother, Val, from the front of the car. "I can't believe today's the day," said Kurt. "Believe it," responded Kurt's older brother, Joachim, as he lifted his head from his mobile phone for just a second to speak to Kurt. The car ride felt like forever, but that's because Kurt could not wait to get to the airport and see this adventure through. It felt like they were stuck in traffic for hours, and all the cars were moving slowly just to drive Kurt crazy. But actually, they arrived at the airport in just a few minutes. Val parked their car in the underground parking lot and found a steel trolley to load the suitcases, and the hatbox she always took with her on a journey. Joaquin never helped with anything, so Kurt knew he was the best man for the job. He helped his mother load the trolley neatly and pushed it towards the terminal building proudly. So we're going to pause right here on paragraph 6. We can tell by reading the first 6 paragraphs that this is a fiction fiction passage. We have our characters. We have Kurt. We have Kurt's mother, Val. We have Kurt's older brother, Joachim. And our setting right now is they are driving. They're on the road. Then they're arriving at the airport and they're parking the car in the underground parking lot. So we have character setting, and our problem so far is that Kurt is very, he's not being patient, and he is ready to go. So he cannot wait. He's being impatient. And we are going to find out the solution and the theme, the lesson learned. Remember, a fiction passage has the 5 story elements: characters, setting, problem, solution, and the theme. So this is a made-up story. So the author's purpose, the author, Daniel S., he wrote this to entertain and amuse us, the readers. So let's go back and continue reading. We left off on paragraph 6. It was bigger than Kurt thought it would be. It was a massive building filled with hundreds of people looking around and rushing to get to wherever they were going. He immediately felt the rush of energy as he walked towards the check-in desk. He watched as Val took out their passports and gave them to the friendly lady on the other side of the desk. His mother asked Joachim to help lift the bags onto the scale so that they could get weighed and checked in, but he was not listening. Kurt gloated as he lifted the bags and put them on the designated scale. The check-in lady was overly friendly and appreciative of his help. He loved the feeling. Val was handed some tickets, and off they went to security. And after what felt like a long wait in line, the security officer asked Kurt to empty his pockets and to put his bag through the big X-ray scanner. Kurt had never done this before and felt a little nervous. It was such a big and scary machine that started beeping loudly as the elderly woman in front of him walked through. So let's find out what the word in blue means: security. When something gives security, it gives safety or protection. Val was handed some tickets and off they went to security. So they're going to get checked out. Paragraph 10. Kurt started to feel more confident now as he walked through the machine. Not a beep. He waited for his family to come through security as he grabbed his bag. Suddenly, he saw the plane through the massive glass windows. It was huge, and it looked much bigger than what it looked like in his dreams. Kurt ran down the ramp towards the gate. So let's find out what the word confident means. When you are confident, you feel sure. My mom said she was confident that my dad would get back home before my birthday is your example sentence. So Kurt is feeling more sure of himself. So right now the problem was he was a little nervous, a little anxious, unsure of himself as he was going through the airport, but now he's feeling more sure of himself, more confident. Let's get back to paragraph 11. Kurt ran down the ramp towards the gate. After a few minutes, the plane was ready for boarding. Everybody lined up and showed their tickets. Walking on a ramp down towards the plane, Kurt nearly tripped from all the excitement. And then he arrived. He was 1 foot away from the plane and finally feeling like a grown-up who would fly all over the globe. The air steward took his ticket and showed him down the aisle to his seat. Kurt ran ahead of his mother and brother and immediately sat down in his seat, buckling his seatbelt. With his eyes firmly on the wing of the plane, he was waiting for everyone to sit down so that he could feel the weightlessness that everyone talks about at school when a plane takes off. The plane started to move and reversed slightly. Moving like a giant metal bird, the plane taxied towards the runway. Kurt clenched his mother's hand. The plane started to speed up faster than Kurt has ever gone in his life in any car or boat. And then, as if by magic, the plane lifted off the ground. And Kurt knew this would be the first of many adventures that started this way. So now, our problem was he was not very patient. He was a little nervous, a little anxious about flying for the first time. And our solution is, at the end, Mr. Kurt was a little nervous. He was holding on to his mom's hand. But then, as the plane was lifting, as if by magic, Kurt knew this would be the first of many adventures. So he was good, he was excited. So at the end, the solution, he was not nervous anymore. Now, our theme, what do you think the lesson that our character, based on his actions, learned at the end? What do you think Kurt learned? We'll talk about the theme at the end, so keep that in mind. So now, you should have your paragraphs numbered because we're going to prove our answers. Remember, whenever you work on this by yourself, you have the audio support by clicking play, and this is your reading highlighter tracker to follow along, and then we click on the 4th button to split our screen. Let's look at the first question. This is what good readers do. They always prove their answers, and they use text evidence, and text evidence just means you highlight a sentence from the reading. And the author's purpose was to entertain, because the 5 story elements were included by the author. This is fiction. Number 1. What is Kurt doing for the first time in his life? Traveling, driving, going on a trip with his mom and brother, or flying on a plane? Now, he is traveling. He is not driving, so it's not going to be B. The mom is driving. He is going on a trip with his mom and brother, but more specifically, let's look at the title, Up in the Air. A and C are great answers, but D is very specific. He's going on a trip, but he's flying on a plane. C doesn't tell us that he's going on a plane. If C would have said going on a trip with his mother and brother and flying on a plane, then C would have been our answer. But it's going to be D, flying on a plane. So now we need to find our proof, our evidence in the reading. So our paragraphs are numbered. We have 1 all the way through 13. So at this time, follow along with me, and we're going to answer number 1 together. In paragraph 1, highlight the second sentence. Today was the day he was finally going to be on a plane. And we're going to use orange. Let's say you accidentally highlighted all of this. What you do is, if you accidentally highlighted all of that, is you just click on the X inside of that orange color wheel. By doing this, you highlight it again, and you click on the X inside that orange color wheel, and then it erases it for you if you accidentally did that. But now you are supposed to highlight the second sentence. Today was the day he was finally going to be on a plane. So it's going to be D. Then we're going to click on our 1, 2, 3, 4 on our fifth button, and we're going to write something. Q1. Q means question 1. Q1 stands for question 1. So at this time, follow along with me, then add the note. This was paragraph 1, the second sentence for number 1. We found our proof that he's flying on a plane. Number 2. What critical event happens at the end of the story? Critical means important. Event means something from the plot, the story. Is it A, Kurt walks on a ramp towards the plane and nearly trips from all the excitement? B, Kurt goes through security at the airport for the first time? C, the plane lifts off the ground and Kurt experiences flying in a plane for the first time? Or D, Kurt, Val, and Joaquin drive to the airport? Let's go to the end of the story. So let's go to paragraphs 12 and 13. Now, we can easily eliminate one of them because it says the end of the story. D says Kurt, Val, and Joaquin drive to the airport. That was at the beginning of the story. So it's not going to be D. Kurt walks on a ramp towards the plane and nearly trips from all the excitement. That could be it. It was towards the end. B, Kurt goes through security at the airport for the first time. No, that was towards the middle once they get there. Right here, look, it says in paragraph 9, Val was handed some tickets and off they went to security. So that was in paragraph 9. We need to look at paragraphs 12 and 13 because that's the end. So it's not going to be B or D. So it's either A or C. So now, let's look at the last two paragraphs. The air steward took his ticket and showed him down the aisle to his seat. Kurt ran ahead of his mother. Oh, this is talking about A, how he's running towards the plane and he's all excited. Now, let's see if anything gets mentioned in paragraph 13. The plane started to move and reverse slightly. Moving like a giant metal bird, the plane taxied towards the runway. Kurt clenched mom's hand. The plane started to speed up. Faster than Kurt has ever gone in his life, in any car or boat. And then, as if by magic, the plane lifted off the ground. And Kurt knew this would be the first of many adventures that started this way. Now, in paragraph 13, the last paragraph of this fiction story, we have our answer. C, the plane lifts off. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight all of paragraph 13. That is our proof what happens at the end of the story. What critical important event? I want you to go to paragraph 13, highlight the whole entire paragraph, and then use green to highlight. Then you're going to click to write Q2. This is our proof, our evidence for question 2. We prove our answers. This is what good readers do. And then you add the note. I will be able to see who's highlighting and who's not, so please follow along. Because if you don't prove your answers, I will send it back to you, and I want you to make sure that you're an excellent reader. So this is our proof for number 2. Number 3. What evidence from the text, meaning the story, suggests, meaning what sentence from the story, says that Kurt may have been looking forward to being on a plane for a while? So in this one, we don't have to highlight anything because our proof is either A, B, C, or D. We have to find the sentence, the proof that matches the statement. So which of these sentences from the story, A, B, C, or D, supports that Kurt may have been looking forward to being on a plane for a while? Is it A, Kurt had dreams about planes? Maybe, because if you have dreams about planes, that means you're excited about something because what you dream about is sometimes something that's going to happen and you're looking forward to it. So A could support that he was looking forward to being on a plane since he's dreaming about it. So maybe it's A. B, Kurt clenches his mother's hand when the plane taxis toward the runway. That doesn't really support that he was looking forward to being on a plane for a long time. This just supports that he was nervous before the plane took off, so it's not going to be B. C. Kurt ran ahead of his mother and brother towards the plane. This is just showing and supporting his excitement about flying, so it's not going to be supporting that he was looking forward to being on a plane for a while. So it's not B or C. Is it D? Kurt helped to lift the bags on the designated scale at the check-in desk. Now, that's supporting that he's very helpful and he was helping out his mom and when he was at the security section of the airport. Doesn't really support that he was looking forward to being on a plane for a while. So it's going to have to be. So it is A. Kurt had dreams about planes. That supports that he's looking forward to this. He's been looking forward to this for a while. So on number 3, click A. And to recap, number 1 was D, and then 2, C, and then 3, A. And we have one sentence in paragraph 1 highlighted, and then all of paragraph 13. We didn't highlight for number 3. Now for number 4. Which statement best describes Kurt and Joachim? Statement meaning which of these sentences supports and describes the brothers? A. Neither Kurt nor Joachim is excited and eager about the trip. B. Kurt is very eager and respectful. Joachim is distant and not interested. C. Both Kurt and Joachim are very excited about the trip. Or D. Kurt is not eager and respectful. Joachim is helpful and excited. So which statement best describes their relationship and how they feel in this story? This says, answer choice A, that neither Kurt, like both of them, are not excited. But we know for a fact that Mr. Kurt is super, super excited because he was dreaming about the plane. He said, I can't believe today's the day. So A is saying that Kurt is not excited. Joachim's not very excited, but Kurt is. And A is saying that neither of them. So it's not going to be A, because that's false. We can prove here that Kurt is very excited, so it's not A. B. Kurt is very eager, meaning excited, and respectful. Joachim is distant and not interested. Maybe Kurt is very eager, and Joachim is very distant and not interested because it says, Kurt's older brother Joachim, as he lifted his head from his phone for just a second to speak to Kurt. He's on his phone on the way there. He's not really into the conversation like most teenagers. And then it says Joachim never helped with anything. So it could be B. Or is it C? Both Kurt and Joachim are excited about the trip. C is not the answer because we have a false statement. Joachim is not excited. And C says both of them are. So it's not C. D. Kurt is not eager and respectful. Joachim is helpful. This is flipping it. This one's saying that Joachim is helpful. But Joachim never helped with anything. So it's not D. I want you to select B for number 4. Now we have to find our proof. So I want you to go to paragraph 6. And I want you to highlight in paragraph 6 the second sentence in paragraph 6, starting with Joachim never helped with anything. So Kurt knew he was the best man for the job, in purple. And this is going to be our proof for Q4, question 4. Please follow along. Now we know for a fact that this proves Joachim never helped with anything, that he's distant and not interested. And Kurt knew he was the best man for the job, meaning he's going to help because Joachim didn't help. And that supports that Joachim is distant and not interested. Now, I want you to go to the next paragraph because we have to find the evidence, a sentence that supports that Kurt is very eager. And it's going to be in paragraph 3. In paragraph 2, we're going to start off with paragraph 2 when the mom is asking Kurt, "Are you excited, my boy?" said Kurt's mother, Val, from the front of the car. So all of paragraph 2 and all of paragraph 3, still in purple, because that's our proof for question 4 again. I can't believe today's the day. So then you click to add the note. We add our note, Q4. This is our proof for question 4. Follow along with me. So we have, I can't believe today's a day, as our proof that Kurt is very eager. It supports this statement. And then we have Joaquin never helped with anything to support that he's distant and not very interested. And we're also going to highlight all of paragraph 4 in purple. And we're going to add Q4, so follow along with me. That also supports that Joaquin is distant. He's on his phone, he doesn't really care what's going on. So at this time, for number 4, it's B, and you should have paragraphs 2, 3, 4, and then the second sentence in paragraph 6 for our proof. Now number 5. What is this story mostly about? We need to find our topic, which is our person. Our main character was Kurt. And then what Kurt experienced. So the main idea, what is the story mainly about, is always our topic, our person, place or thing, but in this case we have a person, it's Kurt. And then what did Kurt mainly do? What did he experience? Is it A, what airports are like? Now, this fiction story did not describe or inform us about airports because this was fiction. A is not it, because that would be if this passage was nonfiction. But once again, Up in the Air was fiction. The story is not about what airports are like. It's not A. Is it B? Kurt's relationship with Joaquin? Did this entire story, all 13 paragraphs, was it describing and giving us a lot of examples and a lot of interactions between Kurt and Joaquin and how close they are? It's not going to be B. This story was not about their relationship. It was not about the brothers. It was mainly about Kurt's experience. So it's not B. Is it C? Kurt's experience on his first plane trip? Maybe it was Kurt's experience. He's our main character, and this was his first plane trip. Or is it D? How large airplanes are? Once again, this was not a story about how large airplanes are because it was fiction. D and A would be if this entire reading was nonfiction. So it's going to be C. Kurt's experience on his first plane trip. And for number 5, we don't have to prove this one because this would be the entire paragraph. And we're not going to highlight the entire story, all 13. So for number 5, you don't have to prove it. We only proved 1, 2, and 4. So once again, 5 was C, 4 was B, 3 is A, 2 is C, 1 is D. At this time, you're going to make sure that you have this highlighted. Thank you for following along with me. You're going to click Submit. And then if it logs us out, we just go back to Student Login. Thankfully, Readworks always saves our progress. And all the login information is in Seesaw. And it's 1234, your password. You go to Submitted Assignments, see your results, and everyone should make 100 because you followed along. If you didn't make 100, that means you just worked on Readworks on your own and didn't watch the lesson, and that's not great. So at this time, thank you for watching. Add a note in Seesaw with your grade saying that you're done, and then click the green arrow to turn it in. Thank you for watching, 4th graders.